Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting workshop powered by MSP Inspire. If you already don't know about MSP Inspire workshops, these workshops are primarily those exciting sessions that we host from time to time on the latest technological trends. And what we try to do is we bring about the information through one of the most empowering people who are working on these, workshops. So. With that being said, I'm just gonna get to our amazing speaker, who is gonna give you a hands-on workshop on the updated of the latest technological trend. So with that being said, he is an innovator. He is a learning enthusiast, a machine learning, computer vision enthusiast. He has a knack for Azure and MATLAB, and he has been making an impact. And now as an MSP, as a Microsoft Student Partner residing in the India region, he is someone who has been creating quite a flair and empowering people through workshops and sessions and so on. So, with that being said, I would like to call upon Vijaya Kumar, a Microsoft partner from the India region, to take over. So, take it away, Vijaya.
Thank you. Hello all, I am Vijay Kumar Pattan Shetty, today's speaker for MSP Inspire workshop series. Uh, Today we'll be going have a quick introduction about ML machine learning and then a hands-on demo on Azure ML Studio. So basically this workshop concerns about exploring what ML is, because like people will be just having going to explore about different topics through workshops just to identify what their interest is. So it's a good session for such folks who are interested to explore what ML is all about and a basic introduction with hands-on demo. Coming on to who am I am Vijay Kumar Pattan Shetty, Microsoft Student Partner 2020. Now heading to a final year BTech in Electronics and Communications Engineering at CMR University, Bengaluru. And signal processing, machine learning and neural networks, computer vision and image processing, quantum computing, and much more are my fields of interest. And I love to learn, explore, and experiment. You can just check out my profile at vijaykumarpatanshetty.github.io. Coming on to what I cover in this particular workshop is first one is basics of ML. Then we head toward what the typical ML flow looks like, and then a quick session on getting Azure subscription. If it's your first session, you can just check out this session, this particular 10 minutes of session to acquire Azure subscription. And then we head towards what actually Azure ML Studio is all about, and then a quick demo using Azure ML Studio. Coming on to basic question that anybody enters into new field asks is, what is it all about? Same way, what is machine learning? Machine learning is all about a computer or a machine learning from historical data in order to make predictions. You can just watch this video and you can, after watching the video, you can infer that at first few steps his parent is or someone is holding the baby. Later he just leaves off and the baby moves on. Same way, we use some data to train the model and just leave off, deploy it to actually predict the data unknown things. Same way the thing works. In this thing we have two categories broadly. First one is supervised learning and then unsupervised learning. Supervised learning is something like you provide instructions or something like that. You provide the labeled data and then you ask model to predict later. Few of such algorithms are regression and classification algorithms. And unsupervised learning is a one more learning category where we don't provide any labeled data. Based on the patterns in the data, the model itself identifies to what class it belongs to or something like that. Classic algorithms under unsupervised learning are clustering algorithms. This is all about very basic introduction of ML. Coming on to what actually machine learning holds is, you can see in this particular picture. You can see in this particular picture If you see from far end, like you can just say this is all about AI. People use this artificial intelligence is today's one of the buzzwords. But actually, when you go very near to it, you realize that it's all about machine learning. And few people really don't like replacing the word ML with AI because some people don't like it. But actually, ML is the subset of artificial intelligence. Same way, when you go a little bit near to that, what actually machine learning is, you just go on to understand it. If you just unframe it, you will see statistics behind it. Like it's all about statistics and maths behind that. So we say machine learning requires a mix of skills, or we formulate this way: machine learning is all about maths plus some domain expertise plus knowledge of algorithms plus programming. So it's a interdisciplinary. That means you can apply in any fields like industrial automation, healthcare, engineering, business, whatever it might be. So where we see machine learning, usually in day-to-day's life, we see in virtual assistants such as Cortana, Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri, which you might have used these things, and AI face recognition cameras and face unlock, which we daily use. Then recommendations on Netflix, Amazon, podcasts, Disney Hotstar. These are recommendation AI-based recommendations. And then you might have also encountered word and phrase suggestions while drafting an email, and spam classification of a detection in emails. And next one is, recently you might have even saw like #10-year challenge trending on Facebook. That's also like AI. And face app as well. If you upload a your face, it would show you how would you look after when you are old. That way, that's also all about AI. And then these are Akinator and Howol.net are few websites where you can just explore about the capability of AI or machine learning. Howol.net, if you upload your photo, it says like how old you are. And then Akinator is something like you just tell some characteristics and it gives you some cartoon that is having all those characteristics. For example, you say you might have been seeing sketching artists and all. You just go on describing something, they go on just sketching, right? Same way. These are few of the classic machine learning examples or like use cases what you encounter in day-to-day's life. Coming on to like few of the use cases, because people sometimes we might be wondering, it's all about like we may think it's all about just CS, computer science or something. No, it's interdisciplinary. Many disciplines has like very useful applications of ML. Coming on to engineering, you might be applying machine learning to detect product failure, and then materials research, topology optimization, 3D designing. These are few of the examples of engineering applications. And secondly, we have business and HR, where you go on predicting the employee loyalty, and then prediction of gold price in business, and then stock market price. These are few of business and HR applications. Then we have finance and banking, where we use ML to like detect the credit card fraud and risk prediction and loan repayment. If a person is coming applying for a loan, how likely he will be like repaying the entire loan in whatever time is given that way. And coming on to healthcare and medicine, which is like a very promising field, like as well as very rapidly growing nowadays. Disease spread and drug discovery, chances of survival of a patient, and some early stage diagnosis as well. These are few of the classic use cases of machine learning. You may explore some other fields as well, like gaming industry. There are many industries like where you can see machine learning. uh, Next, after understanding like what is machine learning and where it is applied, we just need to know how it is applied as well. So every machine learning process begins with data collection. So data is the very important crucial thing in machine learning process. So for we just first thing is data collection and visualization. visualization for the purpose of understanding what data is, and then like we head on towards data cleaning and preparation, because whatever data we have may not be eligible for feeding directly to the model. We just need to clean it and make it ready for training. That's what is preparation. After this, still there might a few of the important things we might be lacking. So there comes the role of feature selection and engineering. That means like some things are not so like visible to us at first shot. You just need to use some statistics to derive like hidden insights. For example, just knowing what mean, median are, like what is the correlation between two data features, and then like autocorrelations and other stuff. This is what all about feature selection and engineering, which will majorly deal with statistics. And then we have something called model selection and building. It's like a algorithm building that way. And then you can use model selection, that means already pre-trained model or like already pre-existing models you can just take and do, or you can build from scratch using some classic deep learning libraries and other things like TensorFlow, PyTorch and other things. Next, after building the model, we just head towards training the model, where we feed some percentage of total data to train the model, and then we test and evaluate. Testing is like we have some portion of data left for testing, and then we head towards like evaluating for real time. During the process, at some point of time during training or testing, you can have hyperparameters tuning. It's all about improving the accuracy and checking for different suitable what we can say parameters to which the model performs better for given data. We are just tuning the model so that it gives the better optimum performance. After all this process, we just deploy it as a web service or whatever it is for real-time prediction of or real-time application of whatever we have built. This is all about like how the machine learning, typical machine learning flow is. Next, we'll just try to understand like how the journey of machine learning along like with Microsoft went. It was 1999 where like of computers on like computers work on users behalf to just like filter the junk emails in Hotmail. That was the time like first time in Hotmail this concept of ML was introduced when we just look into Microsoft. Then into 004 like it just entered Bing search, and then went towards SQL Server, and then like Bing Maps, and then Kinect for just like predicting the gestures of user, like watching users and other things. And then in 2012, it was Skype that made use of real-time speech-to-speech translation. This is the classic ML like application. Then in 2014, Microsoft has introduced Azure ML and Azure ML Studio. This is all about like journey of Microsoft and machine learning. Let's just now look into for like we'll in after 10 minutes we'll be heading towards demo on whatever a quick demo on machine learning model building and then predicting. For that we need to have like Azure subscription. I'll just show you some 5 to 10 minutes of session on how to get Azure subscription. Later we will head towards demo. If you just click on start free, it will go for a page where it asks for credit card details. So in case if you want to use credit card, if you have credit card and you want to use it, then you can just try out here. So you will have to enter the credit card details. However, soon after entering details, you need not worry, like it's not an auto process of billing. So only if you confirm after 12 months, only then billing starts. So till 12 months you will be using for free, so you need not worry. Credit card details are asked just to verify like you are a human, not a robot. For that reason they will be asking. So other option is like you just Google it Azure for Students and click on Azure for Students free account credit. And then you can see that $100 will be credited for exploring Azure. So you can click on activate now. You can just look for eligibility as well. If you are a like full-time student at any college, you can just go on signing up, and you just need to click on create one because you don't have. Same thing here as well. You can just, after clicking, you'll just have to click on create one. So while creating, you can give you either your personal or like your college email, usually like your university email or like college email, whatever it is. Or you can even say, use your phone number instead. Click on and then use your phone number. After next, when you give your phone number and email, it will go on asking for uh, it will ask for your college email ID for verification purpose, and you just enter your university email and other stuffs, whatever it asks. Uh, in case that domain is existing in the database, then they will send you the confirmation like you have received so and so request, and it is approved that way. In case it is not available, you will have to wait some time and just check out the help desk, and then email to the support and get the support from Microsoft Azure. Same thing happens here as well. If you just click on create one, it goes on asking for your gives again sign up with your personal email ID, and then or your email phone number, and then it asks for your credit card details, credit card number, and other stuff. You can just enter whatever details it asks, but you need not worry unless you actually start with billing process. It will not go automatically. So this is all about like how to get Azure subscription, these two. Other thing is GitHub developer pack as well. Like you can just, if you are a student, you can just head on to that and you can check out that. So these are two possible ways you can just acquire Azure subscription. In case you have Azure subscription, you can just go on with the hands-on demo now. In case if you don't have any Azure subscription as of now, you can just you will have the recording video that you can just access it and then try out later. We have next we'll move on towards what Azure ML Studio is. Till now we explored what machine learning was all about. Here Azure ML Studio is a machine learning tool, you can say, that uses visual programming, or you can say graphical programming tool for machine learning, which is the one of the services on Azure, Microsoft Azure. So it is the very basic one where you don't need to know any coding, that is zero coding, and then here you will go with all typical flow of the machine learning, like you can practice machine learning without knowing coding. However, as I said before, it's just for exploring what machine learning is all about and how the process goes, just to find your interest domain. So after learning these, you can actually implement whatever we build here using Python code or whatever code. So if we look into what Azure ML Studio, like what are the features, it includes some sample data sets, already pre-trained built-in models, and it supports Python and R language, and there are many common algorithms which which are just callable like as a block, and then allows various data formats like for data set importing, CSV and other files. And then we have easy data manipulation and transformation modules, and after all you build, you can easily publish it as a web service. These are most of the features of Azure ML Studio. So we'll just look into hands-on demo on machine learning application. What we will be doing in this demo is we'll be using US flights data set to predict the delay in the flights using Azure ML Studio. In this process, we will be encountering data handling, model building, and then publishing. You should see something like this. This is like Microsoft Azure homepage. For whatever applications you start with, it may be anything like web app or not just ML, whatever it is. You just should start with creating a resource. If you click on create a resource, and there is a marketplace search where you can there are the few services or like resources available. You can just search them, and then like whichever you are interested in, just click on that and then create a resource of that particular interest. So here we will be using Azure ML Studio. So just type machine learning studio. You will see machine learning studio classic workspace as like top result, search result. You don't click on like web service or web service plan. Click on Azure Machine Learning Studio Classic Workspace, and you can see that particular thing, like what it covers and plans. You can just explore what all it has, and then click on create. We'll be creating a resource of this particular workspace. So if you click on create, it asks for few things. It means what you need, what you wish to name this particular workspace as. You can click on something like ML demo or something, whatever of your interest, like give any name, and then you can just like select the subscription. If you, in case you just applied for Azure for students, you will see that particular thing here. And if you have credit card thing, that will be visible here. I'll be using whatever is available for me. And then resource group, usually there won't be any resource group, so you just click on create new, give some name, workshop, click on new, and then location, you may select any, no problem with that. Then storage account, you click on create new and give some name which is not existing, or some name. Okay, and then workspace tier, select standard, and web service plan, we just need to create one, create new, and again you just give some name, ML demo plan, and go on selecting which pricing tier you want for web service plan. Here we will be using some standard, which is like 0 INR per day, almost like a free kind of service. So I'll just select that and click on create. So your workspace will be created, and then like it requires some time to actually deploy this resource, whatever you have created just now. So it consumes some time. You should be seeing that in the notifications. You can see your deployment in progress. Once deployment is done, you'll be able to see that particular notification here. Okay, you can see that deployment is successful. Click on go to resource. Okay, this is how Azure ML Studio looks like. Just to understand how navigation works, left pane you see micro like projects, experiments, web services, datasets, and trained models and settings. Like these will be in left pane. You can switch on tabs and just look out what are the recent projects you have created and other things. And to create new experiments, like you can see here, like whatever experiments you have created and other things, the ones whichever you have published will be here. And then like here it is to explore like data sets, whatever you have imported, like you can create one. And then like here you can see the trained models, whatever you have trained. If you want to start new experiment, you can see there is a bottom pane. You can just click on new. We are going to create an experiment starting with blank because we don't want something to be already there. We'll be using blank experiment template. Click on that. Okay. In case you want data, data set from your local machine, then you can just click on data set from local file and upload your file so that it will be available on the platform. Or else there are few sample data sets which we will be using now. That is just type flights flights delay data. So this data set we'll be using. Just take drag and drop here. This is like, as I said before, it's a visual programming or like a graphical programming. It's like building blocks by blocks so that like to get something like out of application or something web service or something like that, instead of coding like from scratch. Then you can just minimize this mind map. And after we imported the flights data, like usually we just need to, as covered in typical ML flow, we need to explore the data so that we understand the data properly. Every block here will have an input port and output port. Since it is like initial port, like block, we don't have any input port, but we have an output port which we will be connecting to next block, input port of next block, whatever we will get. So if you just click on output port and if you click on visualize, you'll be able to see like what data is, what data it holds. You can see there are like around 2719418 rows of data, and then like 14 columns. Nothing, that's nothing but like 14 features. So as I said before, like we'll not be using all 14 features. We'll be doing feature engineering or feature selection. You can see like for each data, like we have year, month, day of week, carrier, origin airport ID, destination airport ID, departure time and arrival delay, and other things. For each thing, you have a visualization here. You can see like visualization, and you can also see statistical properties like mean, median, minimum, maximum, standard deviation, and other things. You can just explore the data and understand like what's the things, how they are going on and other stuff. Once you complete with the visualization, like understanding what data is all about, we'll just close this, and we just need to as I said before, we need only some features, like features of our interest, so we need to choose those. So for that, what we do is nothing like feature selection is nothing but column selection. So we need to select particular columns, click on select, type select columns in data set. You can see here that is like data transformation in that data manipulation. So we are doing data transformation. You just drag and drop that particular column here, and then as I said before, just connect output port of the previous block to this particular input, this block's input port. So this data is, that means this data is being fed to here. And if you click on this particular block, uh, if you see a red mark, it says some value is required, means we need to do something. That is nothing but selecting the columns. For that, what we do is we launch column selector, and we will be selecting the columns by name. So let it be by name, and then what all columns we want is month, month, day of week, origin airport ID, destination airport ID, departure time, and arrive, whether there is a arrival delay of 15 minutes or not. Almost like 7 columns we are selecting. So we are ignoring all other things which we feel like are least important for like making predictions. Once this is done, click on done here. So this is ready. We have done a feature selection, and then we need to edit metadata. Metadata is nothing but like it's a related, if there is any correlation which conveys whole data information, such things we call it as metadata. So we'll be doing like edit metadata. Just drag and drop edit metadata and then like connect the port. Okay, and then you can again see here some value is required. So we'll launch column selector. And here, like while editing, as I said before, like metadata is something like a set of data that is giving some information of other data. Means like they are related. So here we will be selecting with rules. So this means, as I say, like output data is always related with input data in some or other form. So we'll be selecting what output is. So like will be what is the output data is whether there is a delay or not. That's 15 minutes delay or not. So type arrival delay 15 minutes. So this will be our output. So we are selecting that particular column and click on done. And you can see just keep data type as unchanged itself, but data categorical. That means like whether the whatever we are column we selected, whether it is categorical or not. That means like whether there is a category or not. Yes, we have. That is like Boolean category. That means whether true or false, whether there is a delay or not. So only two categories are present. So we'll make it as make categorical. And then we have something called fields. So what is that fields? That's it's a label that is true or false. So we'll be selecting fields as label. Once this is done, you can just come back here. We just select like altered the things here. Now till here our data, we just pre-processed the data and then like prepared the data ready for training. Now we need to split the data to avoid overfitting. What overfitting is? Overfitting is a phenomenon where there is 100% accuracy of the model only with respect to the training data. When it comes to testing, the model actually fails. That's like overfitting. In the sense like it is trained more only on training data. So what we do is we'll split data in some ratio so that like we can validate the model whether it's performing good or not. So we just connect the ports. For training data, we also need require a model. You can select any model, training model, any model you can select. Okay, here I will be for this we'll need a some algorithm or like some model which we need. Here I'll be going for some we will choose linear regression, or you can even choose random forest. Okay, we'll choose linear regression. Okay, here you can see there are many classification algorithms present. In this you can choose anything. The problem here we are dealing with is a classification problem, that is like delay, there is a delay or not. So we'll be choosing any of these algorithm. You can choose two class Bayesian or like two-class decision trees or logistic regression, whatever. So we'll choose two-class logistic regression. So you drag and drop that particular algorithm. You can explore different algorithms. This two-class logistic regression is a classification supervised learning algorithm. You can connect to train model and take the data and connect to train model. But there's a value required for train model, that is like what should be the output. So you just click on that and then launch column selector, and with rules is as we know that like arrival delay is the what expected result. So select that particular column and then click on done. Then till here, like we just just selected the model and then made it ready for training. So then we need to score model. That's like testing the model. If you click on this score model, block will be visible, and then just drag and drop the particular thing. And we have some other second portion of the data. We are just waiting to score the model, and then once this is done, we just need to evaluate the model. For evaluation, we'll be comparing with actual result. I'll just push this little up. Okay. I'm connecting score model output to evaluate model. So the other port you can just leave empty, or like if you have newer data coming inside, that you can connect here and you will get the output here. So till here we just made all these things. So we'll just save it. You can give some other name as well here. You can just write some name, flights delay or something like that. Demo. And just save it, and then we'll start running the model so that like we can see what's how the model performs. There we'll see different metrics used for evaluating the model. Okay, you can see it's running in progress. Like you can see check marks. This means that particular block's role is done. And now the stage is at scoring the model, and then we'll have evaluating the model. If you do the same thing like on your local machine, it may take a very lot time. Here you can see within a minute we just finished this because like it's running on cloud. So once this much is done, you can just click on here and visualize. You can see the results. So this is where we evaluate the model's performance. As I said before, testing, you can see as explained before, like we completed up to training and testing. Now the time is for hyperparameter stealing. So hyperparameters are like few sets of parameters for any model. For example, if you take decision trees, You can fix a parameter like how many decision trees, what is the maximum depth, and other things. If you check for random forest classifier, you will have n estimators like how many random decision trees you, like how many trees you want in the random forest, that way. And then you can see with logistic regression. If you see, you need to specify the what type of regularization you want to use, that is penalty, and the inverse of the regularization, that is like c value, you need to specify. These are the few of the hyperparameters, and tuning those parameters will have some other methods like automated tuning, for example grid search cv, and there are even Bayesian optimization algorithm, and then like we have random search cv for hyperparameter tuning, which I will provide resources for those things at the end of the session, so that you can explore further. Here it's out of scope for this session. Here we just understand what are the different metrics used for like evaluating the model. ROC curve is one of the important plot which we use for understanding the model's performance. ROC is the abbreviation for region operating characteristic. So it's widely employed for radar systems performance understanding. That same thing we will be using here. This is the plot of true positive rate versus true false negative rate. False positive rate. You can see here there's a light diagonal line, that is the worst case, that is 50-50 chance. So whatever the thing be, like our model performance line, this particular blue line should never come below the this worst case, that is 50-50. It's better if our model curve is just like this way, almost like a steeper one. Then we say that our model is performing very better, and that's what is hyperparameter tuning intention is. Like we just go on like stretching, pulling the curve backwards, and then the thing is there is another metric called AUC, that is area under the curve. That means the area covered by this particular blue line. If the area under the curve is maximum, then we say model's performance is better. You can see few other metrics here as well. This particular thing, true positive, true negative, and then false positive and false negative. This particular thing frames a confusion matrix where the model was confusing. And as most of you know that like accuracy, it's like total correct predictions divided by total predictions. And then recall score is nothing but true positives divided by true and false true positives plus false negatives. And precision, as we know that like it is how correct our prediction was. And then F1 score is nothing but weighted average of recall and precision. So these are the few metrics which will be used for evaluating the model's performance. It's not always accuracy that plays important role. Usually people consider this F1 score and recall score as well for evaluating the model's performance. Even this AUC, that is like area under the curve. And this threshold 0.5 is nothing but like, since we have bi-label classification, that's like two class classification, it's 50-50. Threshold is set to 0.5. You can just check like different things here, how during the training progress things went, like how the changes went that way. And then this is all about like evaluating the model's performance. Once we evaluate model's performance, you can tune for hyperparameters, and like when your model is finally ready, we just we go and deploy or publishing this as a web service. So again, come back to bottom pane. You can just see there is an option like publish to galleries, like you are showcasing your model that way. So there is an option like set up web service. There you can see there is an recommended option like predictive web service. Just click on that, and there you can see there is a status like creating predictive experiment. Just wait for that, and automatically the web service thing is just created for you, and you can just click on details. You can see what all has happened there, like training, found train module in the training experiment, and then created trained model from training experiment, and then these like input and output port connections are done, and finally a predictive experiment is done. Once this thing is done, you can just again you can, in the place of setup thing, you can see there is an option like deploy web service. Again, just click on that. Okay, before you just click on deploy, you just need to run this. So click on run. It takes again some time to just click on run as we did before. Wait till all the check marks are done. So it takes probably some 30 seconds. Okay, it's done. Now you just click on deploy web service. Once you deploy web service, you can see that there is a option like first one is your thing, that is request or response, and this is the endpoint present. If you guys know like how to develop an API and other things, you probably know like endpoint. Endpoint is something where you request something and you get something as response, and you specify different data formats for that. Here there is an option for test. You can just explore something called Rapid API. There is also something, it's a API platform where you can test API. Same way here we are testing our thing. So if you just click on test, it asks for some predictive data, some data. You can just enter some year, random year, month, and date of month and other stuffs. But be clear, like origin airport ID and destination airport ID should be one of the 5 airport IDs present in the data set. So you just look into data set and enter here. Once you make some entry, you will be able to just you just enter only 7 columns we just created, because it will be considering only those. After once you enter, you just click on done. It will give you the some prediction here. If you just click on details, you will see result, the output type, like it's a Johnson format. So you can see what should be the type and value and the date of month and other things. We just did not enter anything, it was all zeros. And you can see that there is an arrival delay thing. It is corresponding to 0 value. That means like there is no delay, because like we are not feeding any data value actually, so there is no like correct prediction or something like that, you can say. And it's code probabilities. You can see what is the probability of that. Same way you can actually enter the real data and then test this thing. It's a Johnson format, and these same things, if you want to use in, you can just copy this API key and then deploy it as a web service, build a UI and other things, and then deploy it as actual web service. This is all about like building the model and publishing it as a web service. So once everything is done, now we'll just switch back to slides. There are a few ways to improve the model performance, as I said before. One is hyperparameters tuning, and if there is a lot data, more abundant training data, then better the model's performance. However, there is certain threshold beyond which it will not make any sense. However, enough data will have training data will make the model's performance better. Next one is feature selection and engineering. That is like selecting the really important columns of features will be very helpful. And next is data cleaning and handling. Selecting the finding missing values, and if there is any imbalance, then handling imbalance, and then if there are no non-normalized values, using normalization, and if there are any outliers, then eliminating those, and other stuff. These are few of the data handling things. Usually pandas library is widely used for data handling, where we drop missing values and eliminate some blank columns, and then yeah, normalizing the values and other stuff. And then last, as I said before, it's a hyperparameter stream. So after all is that done, as you know that you will be using either your credits or free credits, or there will be billing, there might be billing going on. So it's always good if you are using this for practice or something like that. It's good and suggested to delete the resources to avoid unexpected billing, and then keep an eye on competing resources that you are utilizing, so that you will be eliminated by just these things, unexpected billing and other stuff. Then you can just go to resources, and just at the front only you can see there is an option for delete. Just click on delete. So learning should not stop. This workshop was just an introduction, and which included visual programming. So if you want to explore further and understand more in depth, you can just explore concepts of machine learning and data science on Microsoft Learn platform. You can follow these links to get into basics of data science and publishing, experiment with Azure ML Studio. These are the two learning paths. And then there is a Medium blog written by one of our co-MSPs, Himanshu Benwal. That is Sneak from Coding for Machine Learning using Azure. It's using some building data. So you can just explore that particular blog post and try out. And then if you want to explore more about models performance metrics, there is a Medium blog written by me itself. So you can just follow the link to understand those things. And there is one more blog written by me, Intro to Machine Learning and Azure Notebooks. You can follow this particular Medium link. Here you will be actually starting with Python programming, where you will write the Python codes, and then implement the same flights delayed, same things are implemented using Python code. And there you will be getting introduced to something called Azure Notebooks, what are those and other stuffs. After this is all about this particular workshop session. Thanks for your patience. Follow me at Twitter handle at brp_11, and then you can follow these particular links of social media, just to follow me. Keep in touch so that we will have a better network. This is all about this session. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vijaya, for that empowering session. And I hope that all of you got to learn about machine learning, Azure, and the latest tools. And with that said, thank you so much, Vijaya, for empowering so many people. And for the rest of you guys, if you want to stay tuned to the latest updates regarding the workshops and the session that we do, stay tuned to MSP Inspire, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get all the latest updates regarding MSP Inspire. So with that said, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.